Is reincarnation real? Can it be proven? Science, as it stands today, says no. Not because it has disproven it, but because it only studies what is physical, measurable, and repeatable. If something cannot be weighed, photographed, or reproduced on demand, it is set aside as unscientific. But history reminds us how fragile our certainty can be. 100 years ago, Einstein himself believed black holes were impossible. In the early 1900s, humanity thought the entire universe was just one galaxy. Then Edwin Hubble revealed billions more. What was impossible simply required a bigger telescope. For millennia, India's great spiritual traditions have spoken of the soul's passage through many births. The Bhagavad Gītā says, "Just as the soul passes from childhood to youth to old age, so it passes into another body at death. And as a person puts on new garments, the soul puts on new bodies." In Buddhism, the Jātaka tales recount hundreds of past lives remembered by the Buddha himself, as princes, sages, even animals. Jain philosophy describes the soul's long pilgrimage through countless rebirths, carrying karma until it attains liberation. As the Tattvārtha Sūtra declares, the soul wanders through countless births in heavens, among humans, animals, and even microscopic beings, bound by its own karma until it attains liberation. In these traditions, reincarnation is not a theory but a natural law. Life and death are just two beats in an endless rhythm. But what does contemporary science say? Can something so ancient withstand rigorous investigation? This is where Dr. Ian Stevenson of the University of Virginia steps in. A Canadian-born psychiatrist and scientist, Stevenson was no mystic. In fact, he was not a believer in reincarnation. Yet, for more than 40 years, he personally investigated over 2,500 cases of children who claimed to remember past lives. He traveled to remote villages and busy cities across India, Sri Lanka, Lebanon, Turkey, Burma, Thailand, and even the United States. His method was meticulous. He interviewed the child before anyone could feed them information. He verified names, events, locations, and death records from independent sources. And in hundreds of cases, he documented birthmarks and birth defects corresponding to fatal wounds from the previous life. Of those 2,500 cases, about 300 was so clear, so detailed, and so well documented that Stevenson called them extraordinary evidence of reincarnation. Jagdish Chandra in India was born with strange birthmarks on his chest and back. As soon as he could speak, he said he had been Maharam, who died from a shotgun blast. Medical records showed wounds that matched Jagdish's birthmarks exactly. James Leaninger in the USA began having nightmares at age 2 about crashing in a plane. He named a ship called Natoma Bay, remembered fellow pilots, and described dying when his plane caught fire in World War II. Every detail was later verified, including military records confirming the pilot he claimed to have been. Sukhlal in India recalled being Kashiram, a man murdered by a gunshot that shattered his hand. The child led his family to his previous village, pointed out his old house, and identified his killer. Facts later confirmed by independent witnesses. Stevenson concluded that in cases of violent death followed by quick rebirth, the soul seems to carry strong impressions, sometimes even physical scars into the next body. As the sages said long ago, the mind creates the body. Critics say these memories could be coincidence, fraud, or parental suggestion. Stevenson responded by showing the memories often appeared before the age of 5, too early for coaching. Children gave obscure details verified only later. Birthmarks matched autopsy records, something suggestion cannot explain. Even hardened skeptics admitted the cases were deeply puzzling. Meanwhile, modern physics is showing us that reality is not as solid as we once thought. In quantum entanglement, two particles light years apart respond instantly as if linked beyond space and time. In the double-slit experiment, a single particle behaves like a wave of probabilities until it is observed. Consciousness itself appears to affect reality. If science struggles to explain the behavior of particles, why assume it already understands consciousness or what happens when it leaves the body? Today, science cannot measure reincarnation. But lack of measurement is not proof of non-existence. For centuries, black holes were impossible. For centuries, the universe was just one galaxy. Quantum physics now shows us that reality itself is far more mysterious than material physics once believed. Dr. Stevenson's research shows children remembering past lives with precision and scars that match their previous deaths. Ancient traditions say this is the natural law of existence. The evidence is compelling. The proof may come tomorrow when science builds a bigger telescope, not for the stars, but for the soul.
If this story touched your heart, there's a universe of wisdom still waiting. Watch the next tale and subscribe to Walk the Path with us.